Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, where we've just received Edgeworth's letter of resignation, or more to the point, picked it up as he tried to get rid of it, writing it at the time we came in. However, there was much more we wish to speak to him about, notably something that's sitting on a sofa as well, so let's continue onwards gathering information about tomorrow's trial. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves.
Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial.
Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this.
What do you mean?
The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd.
After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time.
Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time.
That picture? Something seems strange about it. It seems like it's a time for us to try and show him it, because the strange thing is obvious when you look at it, that's for sure. Of course, I actually need to go, every time I do this, I need to go to the present function and then show it to him. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. We ripped it down. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy.
Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me.
Yes?
The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours.
Yes, you're right. Ah, I remember now.
Remember what?
That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design.
A story?
Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Okay, so it seems we must have a talk option for that now. But let's first of all learn about the day of the crime. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered?
You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right?
I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one.
Because you were awarded this?
Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department.
You finished up at the office?
Yes, just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back.
Take something back?
This.
Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he?
Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office.
That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to?
That's right. Indeed, that is useful information. Thank you. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story?
Me?
Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though, for Emma's sake? Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute.
Objection!
Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. And thus, the Chinese word for contradiction was born.
Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize...
Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this.
Wow. Thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today.
That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished.
Chief Gant.
Everything leads back to Chief Gant, doesn't it? Right, so what is the new bit of message on this? 2 years ago, the halberd was removed at Gant's behest, giving it its current form. Okay then. So with that said and done, let us move along, because if he's not got anything to speak about, we're going to Gumshoe. Or we're going here, considering the fact that Tex is coming up.
Excuse me.
Angel Star. Hello again. I haven't had lunch for a while.
Would either of you care for a £1/4 of roast beef?
Miss Star! I guess she's out of lunches.
You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago.
Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't all be attributed to mere coincidence.
Aren't you forgetting something? You know, that little scene I happened to witness.
The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife.
No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savoured when eaten.
Miss Star's hatred toward Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. And so we obviously begin talking again. All the players in that case are here. Joe Dark, that's a name I'll not soon forget.
We trailed him for half a year.
Oh, the pressure.
Still, I don't think I was even ever more alive than I was then.
Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy.
Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell.
You mean because of his brother's death?
They were close, those two.
After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed.
Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate.
Huh? Lana Skye.
My sister?
The best of the best were put on that SL9 case.
Of course, they were led by that legendary duo.
Lana and Chief Gant. Right, more. And pretty sure, I'm guessing there was a relationship between Jake Marshall and Lana Skye.
That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out.
You mean with the forging of the evidence?
Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated.
Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret.
But you don't have proof anything illegal was done.
I'm proof enough of what happened. Her losing her job. After that case, all of us, save Goodman, were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became Chief Prosecutor.
Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor.
Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Okay, well that brings an interesting slant. Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation, with Lana second in command. They were the best.
They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they?
Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal.
His magnetism?
By that, I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled.
Incredible evidence?
You mean...
Oh yes, There were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Why indeed? Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief. That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control. And then no one could stand in his way. Very obvious, eh? The prosecutor's office. What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred? Well, didn't you realize this before? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he can control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Indeed, well, thank you for those words of wisdom, madame. As we move on. Or I feel that is an ending to the conversation. Now let's get to what we meant to be doing in the first place. Which is, of course, Gumshoe! Are you still here? Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you in the chief's office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's got to be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Well, you can't get sacked if what we prove is right. So with that said, we present a certain something to persuade him. What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious! Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they've pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him. Detective? That's it. I've made up my mind. But... Here, take my ID card. We can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this. For Mr. Edgeworth's sake. All right, detective. Thank you. And he seems quite okay with that factoid. Right, nothing else to talk about, it seems? He's chuckling away. He's made his peace. He's made his bed, and he has to lie in it. How many other phrases do you want me to say? As we move up to Gant's office. Here goes, Mr. Wright. We're in! If anyone finds us now...
Detective Gumshoe's a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out.
Did someone get hit again? Sorry, I thought you were a ghost.
Wait a second, is that her reaction to being scared every time? Just wondering. That could solve a reason of why there was an unconscious killer. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. It was a good slap though, by the look of it. Ah, Detective Gumshoe! What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too.
If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card?
Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card! Why'd you do that? Why? I hardly ever get a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now.
You really do want to get fired, don't you?
Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this. What's so bad about bringing a bona fide detective to the show? Oh, wait a second, it's Gumshoe, isn't it? Right, so we can talk to him further then? We can? Okay, we can examine as well, so why not examine around the place? Oh, let's just talk first and then examine. That desk on the other side of the room. Was that your sister's?
Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago.
Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it there. He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see.
So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk?
No one except Chief Gant. And the cleaning lady, who's in here each morning.
Still, 2 years have passed since that incident.
There can't possibly be any clues remaining. But he's preserved the crime scene. Maybe, just maybe, it is Chief Gant. Let's speak about him. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it? No, it isn't. Why'd you ask? You don't think... Nah. You wouldn't be... No. No, there's no way. Never mind, don't worry about it.
Okay, now then, let's look around a bit more.
Hey, hold on! Not so fast, buddy.
Huh? What is it?
When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal! You don't just let it go at that.
Sorry,
this guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you?
What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him?
I definitely think he is. Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this.
What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings. Yet.
There you go, ignoring me again. Indeed I am, but my feelings are very much along those lines. Well, let's get examining the room, starting with this big, majestic pipe organ. The Chief's organ sure is a sight to behold. Occasionally we hear him playing it from the Criminal Affairs Department. That's on the 2nd floor, and this is the 15th floor of an entirely different building. When a detective screws up, the Chief calls them to his office and makes them listen to the organ for hours.
What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul.
After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except for the ringing in their ears. So it's an instrument of punishment. Literally.
But aren't the Chief's ears affected?
He never listens to anyone anyway. That's beside the point. Indeed it is. Right, so what else do we have to check here? That looks like a safe up there. Behind his desk, as well as over here is a knight randomly there. This is the real deal, isn't it? His armor and these weapons? Sure is, pal. The Chief doesn't care for imitations.
First the pipe organ, now this armor. Do you know how many taxpayers' dollars must have gone into this room?
What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes.
You don't have any taxes to pay.
Shh. Be careful of what you say. Who knows? The chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak.
I don't think he'd fit in there.
Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out.
Cut it out! You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. I think we get somewhat of an idea. The laughing, and then the quick turn demeanor. But for now, we'll continue to examine the room. Next time on Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, we've got many little bits to check out after all. So join me then.
Bye-bye.